Whether you believe Donald Trump is the only answer for moving America forward, or you believe he is the reason why our system of government sleeps with the fishes for the rest of eternity, there is no question Thursday night's GOP debate is forcing every American to face some difficult questions that must be answered. For instance, America is under siege every second of every day from those who want to kill us, break every rule, decimate our way of life. Is the answer to install a president who is ready and willing to break the law to protect us, in essence committing what some say without doubt are war crimes? Someone once said rules are made to be broken, pointing to this nonsense about a brokered convention because, according to the rules, as they are written right now, Donald Trump is the only individual with any chance of being nominated under any circumstance. So is it time to toss out the book and start again? And let us save everyone from being beaten into the political ground every single second. The weekend's here. Let's show some optimism, thanks to a temporarily growing spaceman and dreams of what could be. The only program that begins with an actual desire to ask questions from both sides. Damn the partisan hacks. I'm Ed Berliner. This is The Hardline for Friday, March 4th, 2016.
Donald Trump embodies that Washington corruption that we are angry about. The answer to that corruption is not to go with someone who's been funding liberal Democrats for 4 decades, who's been enmeshed in that corruption. And it's worth underscoring, Donald is telling us he will betray us on everything he's campaigning on.
The words of Ted Cruz don't sit well at all with those who are convinced that Donald Trump is the only saving grace for America at this time in our history. They are words that swell with more anger, greater retribution, and charges that those who don't get on board the Trump train right now are the real problem with America, failing to see the enema this nation needs from what they perceive as establishment politics. But seeing as we're the only program that deals fairly on both sides, we're forced to point out what Cruz says is a growing sentiment, leading America at the moment to a seminal time in our democracy that could shake its foundations, force us to rewrite rules, and what many believe is the last chance to stop a disaster from erupting in our midst. Here we go. Welcome back, former Congressman and Shillman Senior Fellow with the Investigative Project on Terrorism, Pete Hoekstra. Pete, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We're going to get right to it. Ted Cruz says that Donald Trump will betray America. Marco Rubio today in Kansas says that Donald Trump, quote unquote, accentuates the most dangerous instincts in humanity. Does this, in your mind, at all change any of the dynamic that has people saying that Donald Trump is the only answer?
I don't think it changes the dynamics at all, Ed. I think people are getting sick and tired of that kind of rhetoric, over-the-top rhetoric. All 4 of the remaining candidates in the Republican presidential primary have the best interests of America at mind. You know, they are approaching this differently, but to go overboard like this, I don't think helps the debate at all and helps undecided or other voters make up their minds.
What is it, though, about the fact that Donald Trump says certain things, Pete, and we're going to be really frank here. He says certain things that have no basis in fact, things that are untrue, yet people continue to say that he is the only answer. Isn't there something that makes everybody look at the facts and decide their decision and their comments and their nominee on that?
Well, I think one of the things you got going on, Ed, is people don't believe most people who are running for public office, whether they're Donald Trump or any one of the other candidates, because for way too long, politicians have, in one form or another, been deceiving the American public. I'm working on an op-ed right now that kind of goes along those lines. You know, in 2000, we elected a conservative president. We expected that, you know, especially on education, we would see a revival, you know, local control of education. What did the American people get? We got No Child Left Behind. We were promised that we would reform entitlement programs under conservative direction. What did we get? We got the prescription drug bill, which was an expansion and no reform of an entitlement. So people are just very, very skeptical. I understand why they're angry. We need to take a look at why they're angry, who they're angry at, and how we can actually effectively address that problem.
Pete, let's talk militarily for a moment. As the son of a very proud military veteran, I listened very frankly and listened to this a lot. Donald Trump talks about the fact that he would force the U.S. military to commit war crimes, to kill the families of Muslim terrorists, and institute interrogation techniques worse than waterboarding. He was asked how he would handle servicemen who would refuse to carry out the orders to commit what many people say are war crimes. Here's what he said.
They then came to me, what do you think of waterboarding? I said, it's fine. And if we want to go stronger, I'd go stronger too. Because frankly, that's the way I feel. We should go for waterboarding, and we should go tougher than waterboarding.
But targeting terrorist families?
Pete, Donald Trump said they won't refuse. They're not going to refuse me. If I say do it, they're going to do it. And today we are hit by numerous experts, people in the military, who say this makes us no better than the terrorists and is nothing more than a war crime. How do you see it?
Well, clearly, I hope we have a military, and I hope we have military leaders that if they are ever ordered by any official in the federal government, any person in the chain of command to conduct an illegal activity, that we will have the kind of people in our armed forces who will say no, and we're not going to have any part of it and stand up. We have to maintain the integrity and the lawful nature of our military. We can't lower ourselves. What I heard Donald Trump, and I was there last night, and I cringed a little bit when he said some of those things as well. And when he said, they'll do it just because I tell them to do it. No, hopefully we will do things, and we will have people in every agency who will be discerning in what orders they will follow to make sure that they are legal.
Pete, I've only got 20 seconds left. Let me ask you this. In your opinion, would this be a war crime?
I don't think we ever got into the specifics. Saying you're going to do more than waterboarding, I don't think that means you automatically cross the line into a war crime.
But to kill the families of terrorists?
I would be very nervous. I'm not a lawyer. That would make me very nervous. That probably does become a war crime, killing civilians.
It has a tremendous amount of people nervous. I think it's fair to say, and that's what has a lot of people talking right now. And again, we are still looking at a fact that the American people are speaking in the polls every single day. We just have to continue to bring the facts to them up front. Pete Hoekstra, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us.